What if the smile that lit up millions was hiding a lifetime of pain? What if the boy who sang about love was silently fighting to keep his own heart from breaking? Donny Osmond, the voice of innocence, the face of perfection, behind the fame he carried battles no one saw. From the blinding lights of Donnie Marie to nights spent in silence, his journey is one of faith, heartbreak, and unimaginable strength. Stay with us as we uncover the truth behind the legend, the man who refused to stop shining even when the lights went out. Born on December 9, 1957 in Ogden, Utah, Donny Osmond was the seventh of 9 children in the deeply devout household of George and Olive Osmond. Music wasn't just a hobby in their home, it was a sacred calling. His father, a World War II veteran, believed discipline built virtue, while his mother, a firm and loving matriarch, believed that faith could turn any struggle into song. 2 of Donnie's older brothers, Burl and Tom, were born deaf, and music became the family's bridge across silence. Little Donnie, eager to share joy even they couldn't hear, sang louder, hoping they could feel the rhythm through his voice. At just 5 years old, the bright-eyed boy made his television debut on The Andy Williams Show, performing "You Are My Sunshine." The audience erupted in applause, and that applause sealed his fate. Overnight, the Osmond family left the quiet streets of Utah for the glittering lights of Los Angeles, chasing fame that would soon become their burden. Donnie's childhood disappeared beneath rehearsals, television tapings, and endless tours. His lullabies were not sung to him, they came from him. By 10, Donny Osmond wasn't just a child anymore, he was a brand. A clean-cut image of American hope, always smiling, always perfect. By 12, his voice had become the heartbeat of the nation. The family's song "One Bad Apple" hit #1, turning the Osmonds into a global sensation. His charm filled lunchboxes, posters, and cereal boxes. Yet the same smile that made millions fall in love began to feel heavy. The stage lights blinded him from the life he never got to live. He once said softly, "My childhood wasn't about playgrounds, it was about performance." Behind the scenes, the pressure was relentless. Every show was a test of perfection. His father managed the family like a regimented unit. His mother reminded him that his voice was a gift from God. Donnie grew up believing that failure wasn't just a mistake, it was sin. Every performance became a prayer for survival. Before walking on stage, he'd look into the mirror and whisper, "Don't mess up." The applause that once sounded like love soon echoed like chains, beautiful but unbreakable. When the Donnie Marie Show premiered in 1976, it became a national obsession. Each week, millions tuned in to watch Donnie and his sister Marie Osmond laugh, sing, and charm America. On screen, they were the perfect siblings. Off-screen, Donnie was quietly fading. 12-hour rehearsals, endless interviews, and the constant weight of perfection began to crush him. "When the red light came on, I came alive," he recalled years later. "When it went off, I didn't know who I was." Critics who once called him pure now mocked him as too wholesome, too clean. The same traits that built his fame turned into the reason he was rejected. "They didn't want me anymore," he once said, "but I didn't know how to be anyone else." Late one night after filming, Donnie sat alone on the empty stage, staring at the vacant seats that once held thousands of cheering fans. He whispered into the silence, "Is this what love sounds like when it's gone?" Through it all, one thing stayed constant, his faith. But even faith couldn't fill the loneliness that came with fame. That was when a young woman named Debbie Glenn changed his life forever. They met as teenagers in Utah, when she was a high school cheerleader and he was already a television star. He admired her from afar for years, silently praying she would notice the boy behind the fame. When she finally did, their connection was instant, pure, and real. In 1978, Donny Osmond married Debbie Glenn, shocking his fan base. Headlines screamed, "America's boy marries, millions heartbroken," and radio hosts joked that the nation had been dumped. But Donnie didn't care. "The night I got married," he said, "I lost half my fan base." Yet what he gained was love that would save him again and again. When fame faded and the Osmond empire collapsed under nearly $20 million in debt, Donnie went from performing in packed arenas to singing in casinos and county fairs just to pay the bills. Fame had abandoned him, but Debbie stood by his side. During one of their hardest moments, he found a note she had left on the kitchen counter. It read, "Love doesn't need you perfect, it just needs you present." Those words carried him through decades of storms. Then came redemption. In 1989, Donny Osmond recorded a song called "Soldier of Love." Radio stations played it anonymously because they thought the name Donny Osmond was outdated. The song climbed into the top 10 before the world discovered who the singer really was. When they realized it was me, he said, it felt like being seen for the first time. It wasn't just a comeback, it was a resurrection. Every scar, every failure, every night of doubt had carved humanity into his voice. But fate wasn't done testing him. In 2004, his beloved mother, Olive Osmond, passed away. To Donnie, she wasn't just a parent, she was the rhythm that kept their family in harmony. He had been performing in Las Vegas when the call came. As the lights dimmed that night, he told the audience, "The song has ended, but the melody will never die." 3 years later, he lost his father, George Osmond, the family's unshakable general. "He taught me to march before I could walk," Donnie said, holding back tears. Without his father's steady hand, he felt lost for the first time in his life. The losses didn't stop there. His brothers began to fall ill one by one. When Wayne Osmond, his musical shadow and lifelong harmony partner, passed away, Donnie was shattered. At the memorial, he sang "Puppy Love," the song that had made them legends. This time, his harmony was gone. He sang alone, his voice trembling through tears. Later, he whispered, "Every brother gone feels like another verse cut from the song of my life." Yet he kept singing because grief didn't take his music, it only changed its key. In 2019, life handed him a new test. Years of dancing and performing had taken their toll, and his spine began to fail. One night, his body gave out completely. His legs refused to move. For a man who had spent his entire life in motion, the silence was unbearable. Doctors warned he might never walk again. As he lay in his hospital bed surrounded by machines, he whispered, "If I can't move, can I still be me?" Beside him every night sat Debbie, sleeping in a hospital chair, her hand wrapped around his motionless fingers. "She was my rhythm," he said. "When I forgot how to move, she reminded me how to try." Weeks passed. There were infections, setbacks, and pain that brought him to tears. But then came the first twitch of a toe, the first step, the first time he stood again. "I didn't hear angels," he joked later. "Just Debbie crying." By 2020, Donny Osmond was back on stage, slower, humbler, but more powerful than ever. Standing under the lights, he told the audience, "Strength isn't about standing tall. It's about standing again after you've fallen." The crowd roared, not for the perfect idol of their youth, but for the man who had fought his way back to life. Today at 67, Donny Osmond lives in St. George, Utah, in a quiet desert home surrounded by love. He and Debbie have 5 sons, Donnie Jr., Jeremy, Brandon, Chris, and Josh, and 14 grandchildren who fill their home with laughter and chaos. His net worth, estimated around $20 million, is not built on extravagance, but on endurance. His most cherished possessions aren't awards or luxury cars, though he still treasures his 1969 Ford Mustang, his Tesla Model X, and his old Harley-Davidson motorcycle. His greatest treasure is peace. He begins each day with prayer, meditation, and a few gentle vocal warm-ups, not for an audience but for himself. His health routine is simple: balanced meals, exercise, gratitude, and laughter. He often says, "My health is my greatest encore." Despite his quiet life, Donnie continues to perform select shows in Las Vegas, mentoring young artists and giving back through his Olive Osmond Hearing Fund, which provides hearing aids to children around the world. "If I can give someone the gift of sound," he says, "it's like singing again for my brothers." After more than 6 decades in the spotlight, Donny Osmond has learned that true greatness isn't in perfection, it's in persistence. His story is not one of fame alone, but of faith, family, and the strength to rise after every fall. So the next time you hear "Puppy Love" or see that iconic smile, remember the journey behind it. Behind every note is a story of loss, resilience, and redemption. Donny Osmond didn't just sing the songs of a generation, he lived them. Every verse, every breath, every heartbreak. If this story moved you, remember to subscribe to Celeb Spill, where we bring you the real lives behind Hollywood's brightest souls. Because legends like Donny Osmond don't fade away, they evolve, one song, one struggle, and one miracle at a time.